Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do air fried KFC in the Ninja Speedi. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to marinate my chicken. So I'm going to get 3 eggs. These are small. If you've got large eggs, just use 2. So what I did is I sectioned the whole organic chicken. So I have it in 8 pieces. They're not the most even, but they'll all cook the same at the end. So I've got my 3 eggs. I'm going to do 2 cups of buttermilk. There, just a little salt and pepper because we're going to season the chicken later on. And my secret ingredient is, if I can find it, where did I put it? There's buffalo sauce. So I'm just going to put a dash. It doesn't actually come through that much in the chicken. It just gives it a tiny bit of heat, but not too much. So we're just going to get a fork and we're going to whisk that real quick. Some people like to leave it marinate overnight. Me, I don't think it's that necessary because with all the seasoning on the flour and stuff, there's going to be a lot of flavor in there. So you give that a quick mix. And then we're going to put all our chicken pieces in. And then I'm going to leave it sit in the fridge while I'm making the flour. So get all that in there, make sure everything is covered. And I'm going to leave that rest in the fridge. Okay, so here we have the coating for the chicken. So in here I have 2.5 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of cornstarch. I have 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, thyme, and 1/3 of a teaspoon of basil, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of Mr. Dash, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of ground mustard, and I didn't have celery salt or onion powder for whatever reason, so I put in a teaspoon of adobo. So I'm going to give that a quick mix and then we should be ready to put in our chicken. Also too, when you're coating your chicken, make sure and keep stirring your flour mixture because a lot of the time the herbs and stuff sink to the bottom and you get just floury, and then when you get to the end piece there's too much seasoning on it and it doesn't taste good. So that's just about ready to go. Let's get our chicken. Okay, we're back and we're going to flour our chicken. So what you do is you just grab a piece. So the first one I grab here is a wing. So what you do, dip it into the flour, give it a good press down. Try and get the flour in everywhere as much as you can because that's what's going to make it crispy. So you push it right down. You fold it back into a shape. Oops, there. Shake it off, and then you pop it over, and you just repeat for every other piece. So pull the skin down so you get the skin all crispy. Same thing. Push it down. Try and get the flour in everywhere as much as you can. So when you use buttermilk, it's important that you leave the chicken sitting for a minute. You don't just put it into the air fryer or oil if you're using it, because if it doesn't sit for a minute, that's when it separates and you lose the coating. Basically it just pops off. So if you leave it rest, that's the key. So I'm just going to do these all really quickly. Take it off. The breasts I'm going to do separately because they're bigger obviously than the legs and thighs. So I'll do the first part of the video with the smaller pieces and then I'll time the chicken after. So again, make sure you get all the pieces so it gets nice and crispy and everywhere. Okay, there's the other big breast. I knew that one was big. Okay, same thing. Some people like to double coat. I don't think that's necessary. I think it just dries it out a little. So just pop a little there. full chicken that I sectioned myself. If you buy a full chicken and if you prep it yourself, you save a lot of money than just buying chicken breasts or thighs. There's a thigh there. Especially with the thigh, there's a lot of little corners, so I just make sure I get it right in. There we go. It's going to be extra crispy. Pop that there. Almost done. Got a wing. And I'm going to leave this sit for maybe 30 minutes, 25, we'll see, 25, 30 minutes. So almost done, one more. So I actually have quite a lot of flour left over. I didn't gauge it properly, but I have another chicken breast in the freezer. I'll defrost that and I'll make nuggets out of the rest of the flour. So what I'm going to do is leave them all separate. Leave them for 30 minutes and I'll be back. Hey everyone, so it's been about 30 minutes since I was last here. I just had an idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do half the chicken in the Speedi on air crisp. I'm going to do half in the pan and just compare how the batter and stuff sticks and the flavor. And I'll give you the result in a couple of minutes. So right now I'm going to turn on my Speedi, flip it up to rapid cook. I'm going to put a steam and crisp. 20 minutes is good, and I'm going to drop it to 375. I have roughly a cup and a half of water here, so I'm going to put that in the bottom. Make sure my tray is nice and steady. Okay, so I'm going to grab a chicken breast. Obviously, I know this one's going to take longer. I'm going to grab a wing. Over there. A thigh. There. And then room for a leg. So we'll space them out, and I'm going to leave them for 20 minutes. It takes roughly 3 minutes, 4 minutes for the steam to build, and then the timer will go off. So if you're gauging time, give yourself roughly 25 minutes for the chicken from start to finish to be cooked.